I've spent more of my life trying to escape it than I feel like I've actually been living it. And porn was a big part of that for me. And so was my phone, so was social media, so was work and food, entertainment, anything to just stimulate me. And I know I'm not the only one that has felt this. Um, my biggest escape has always been pornography, and I found it at about 9 years old, mostly just out of curiosity. And what that turned into was a daily way to escape what I was feeling. And I didn't really understand why I was using it until later. And, I thought I'd stop for my mission, my church mission. I thought I'd stop for when I got married. But I just kept continuing to use it for stress, loneliness, boredom, basically just emotional discomfort. And I thought my problem was that I was just overly sexual. But the real problem was I just didn't know how to stay present with uncomfortable emotions that I didn't want to feel. And everybody has a preferred way to escape. Porn, scrolling, weed or alcohol, food, video games, work, constant self-improvement or work, fantasizing about a future life, or just staying busy so you never have to actually feel something. And it can become tricky because some of these can be forms of productivity, but they're all serving the same purpose to escape what is inside the inner part of us that we don't want to feel. And I feel like that's where it can become problematic, because that's when it can become, or turn into, at least for me, it's become numbness, right? Where I don't feel a lot of really anything. I think there's lots of times where I'm going through life and I can almost kind of see it as third person of like, wow, I'm really just kind of living like a shell of a life. I'm not really like actively in it. And I believe that's because I'm numb. And I'm numb because I'm not feeling my emotions. I'm escaping from them. And I feel like we live in this digital world that is so conducive to constant stimulant, where you can hop on Instagram and you can do the endless doom scroll and you can go through life constantly stimulating yourself. But if you look at what real life actually is, dude, it's slow. Relationships aren't like this sexy novelty thing. Like, they require a lot of patience. Progress is really repetitive. I just read Atomic Habits, and it's just like, dude, the habit every single day, 1% better every single day, and it takes so much freaking time. And emotions are uncomfortable. Like, I hate feeling sadness and overwhelm and anger and stress and anxiety. And porn and social media provide an instant novelty to escape from those emotions. And then if you do that enough, eventually ordinary life just becomes boring and you just like aren't really interested. But maybe your life isn't boring. Maybe your brain has been trained to believe that you need constant stimulation that's worth paying attention to. So when I realized this constant escapism was costing me my life was when my wife came to me, and I've always been pretty open and honest with her about pornography, just open communication. And she basically came to me and was like, hey, I don't know how much longer I can deal with this for. I don't want a divorce, but I just don't know how much longer I can stay. And I just realized that, dude, it's been 17 years that I've struggled with this thing of escaping. And it can easily turn into another 17 if I don't become proactive about it. And becoming proactive about it was actually realizing that I was avoiding discomfort big time. And I wasn't just losing time when I watched porn. I was becoming someone who believed they couldn't handle their own emotions without escaping. Subconsciously, I was learning that. And so as I went through this journey of overcoming pornography, but this could apply to anybody, of overcoming any bad habit that they have, And it's treating the urge to do X, right? Whether that's porn, overeat, doom scroll, watch Netflix. That is a check engine light. The check engine light itself isn't the actual problem. It's a symptom of something that's deeper underneath the hood that's going on. So it's pointing to something underneath, whether that's stress, trauma, loneliness, resentment, rejection, boredom, shame, burnout. And if you try to just fight the urge or like white knuckle the urge, you're really just going to fall into a repeating cycle of going into this. And the tricky thing here is if you have shame about the thing that you're doing, that's going to make you feel worse. And when you feel worse, you're going to want to escape more. And that's where it can become really problematic. So a couple tips that have just helped me not just escape, but when you have the urge, and you need to be really disciplined here, but when you have the urge to escape, it's taking a step back and not shaming yourself. Because like for me, if I got an urge to look at porn, it was like, oh, like fight it, I can't do it. And really the first step for me was like, oh, I can go look at porn if I want to right now, but what am I looking for through porn? I'm looking for relief. Okay, what am I looking for relief from? Oh, like I'm just really stressed out that work is not going how I want it to go. And just that awareness can make a huge difference. And notice in the beginning, I didn't shame myself. I said, hey, you can if you want to, right? You can go doom scroll. You can go binge eat all the candy in your cupboard right now. But let's just take a step back first and just ask ourselves what's really going on. And so then when you create the awareness, it goes to step 2, which is regulate your nervous system before making a decision. So for me, it was like, okay, I can't look at porn. I want relief from work. I'm going to go on a walk and call a friend before I look at porn. And if I come back and I still want to look at porn, I can. But it was really getting away from the stimulus that was stressing me out, whether that was, looking at Instagram or working on a work project that was just really making me frustrated. So like leave the room, go outside, go for a walk, breathe, take a shower, call up a friend. And if you need to sleep, sleep if you need it. And I feel like that's what really helped me with step 2. And then step 3 was just building a life that was worth staying present for. So creating real friendships, creating real intimacy with my spouse, creating things like art. Like right now I'm building a sauna and it's freaking taken a way long time to do it, but it just is giving me something to put my creative energy towards. You have physical movement, time outside. I really like deep conversations with friends. Those seem to help. Purposeful work is awesome, feels good for me. Learning to sit in silence. I meditate every morning and that really helps me. And then doing things that you're like actually passionate about. I heard this quote the other day. I might butcher it a little bit, but it was like, you're not feeling too tired because you're doing too much. You're feeling tired because you're not doing enough things that are sparking a light inside of you. And I just thought that was like such a cool quote. So for someone that finds themselves constantly escaping, today, tonight, tomorrow, I want you to just notice, when are you wanting to escape? When are you reaching for your phone? When are you going to get up for a snack? When are you getting on Instagram? When are you looking at pornography? When are you actually doing those things? And just ask yourself like, hey, what's going on in my life right now? What am I feeling? And what am I hoping this is going to give me? And if you did, let's say look at porn or something, then the question is, what was I hoping to gain from that? And I feel like this has really, really helped me. I spent years believing that freedom was never watching porn again, but I believe freedom is learning to regulate my emotions when I feel stress, loneliness, and boredom, and also expanding my nervous system. When I do feel hard emotions, I can actually handle them. So you don't need to become stronger at fighting your life. You need to learn how you can sit in your life even when it's uncomfortable. So this is like what I talk about. I'm very passionate about this. So if this is in your wheelhouse and this interests you, I'd love to see you around more.